Ngayon sa week 5 ng ating klase, Social Work 211 or Philippine Social Realities and Social Welfare. So, talk about social realities. So, isa dito sa mga social realities and social issues is itong topic natin ngayon is juvenile delinquency and crime. So, introduction to this, no? So, sabi nga dito sa libro is that like any other countries, no, the problem of crime and juvenile delinquency appear to be inevitable. So, ano to sila? So, sila yung mga kabataan na nasasangkot sa mga crimes and the like. So, sabi nga dito, difficult to prevent daw kasi ang daming kabataan. And, of course, the government, however, has been doing its best to solve the problems and evidently there is an improvement to the situation. So, let's have our definition. So, according to United Nations, sabi nga dito, define child, ano ba yung bata talaga? As an individual below 21 years of age. So, below 21 years of age, bata ka pa, you are considered as child in the face of crime and delinquency. Kasi, para kasi minor de edad pa siya, hindi pa siya pwedeng makulong. But, juvenile delinquency then deals with children, minor or youth below 21 years of age who breaks the law or fail to do what the law requires. So, the Child and Youth Welfare Code or Presidential Decree number 603 defines youthful offender as one who is over 9 years old. So, lampas ng 9 and under 21. So, if you are 10 to or under 21, if you are 10 or 20, 10 to 20 ranging, youth offender yung tawag sa'yo of age at the time of commission of the offense. So, magiging youth offender ka pa rin, even though tumanda ka na, yung kaso mo pa rin is considered youth offender, even though naproceed yung kaso mo, naglampas ka na sa edad na to. Kasi because youth offender yung tawag dyan kasi only under the time of the commission of the offense. So, a child 9 years of age or under the time of the offense shall be exempt from criminal liability and shall be committed to the care of his father or mother or relative. So, kung walang father, mother. Kung walang mother, father naman. Especially relatives, by blood, especially by friends, in the discretion of the court and subject to its provision. So, in general, no, the term crime is used to refer adult behavior oftentimes. Pero ano ba talaga yung crime? The way we understood it. Kasi oftentimes kasi, pang matanda lang yung crime, krimen. Pero, still, youth offender do have and is committing crime also. So, a crime is the commission or omission. So, pag sinabi natin commission, when we commit something, may ginawa tayo. And also, this omission means meron tayong hindi nagawa na violation sa law. Example, we witness a crime or a thing, and wala tayong ginawa of an act which is either violation of the law, prohibiting, or in violation of the law, ordering. It is also defined as an act of omission, especially one grave nature, punishable by law, forbidden by statute, or injurious to public welfare. So, you are considered, it's considered forbidden when you omit a crime or injurious in the public welfare. Kasi baka meron kang nalaman na truth at hindi mo siya pinagsabi. So, the term criminal normally does not apply to all lawbreakers. Of course, because all persons violate laws. But it refers only to those persons who commit heinous crimes and who engage habitually and professionally in crime. The collection and utilization of crime statistics are subject to difficulties so similar to those juvenile delinquency. So, sabi nga dito, somewhat, yung statistics natin, na meron, although may difficulties, still there is similarity. Pero iba talaga yan siya. Okay? So, sino ba yung mga delinquent? So, the word delinquent means many things. To some, a delinquent is one who is committed an offense. Wala lang, nakakommit lang ng crime, delinquent ka na kung medyo bata ka. Wala ka sa insaktong edad, minor de edad ka. For others, he is a person who has broken only minor laws. Those that do not disturb the public conscience too much. Wala lang, medyo nakakommit lang ng kaliitan, pero hindi naman nakakadisturbo sa public. Hindi katulad ng murder talaga or other things. Pero in the social worker view, iba siya. Okay? So a delinquent is a person in a social worker or whatever age whose attitude toward other individuals, toward community, toward local authority is such that it may lead him into breaking the law. So yan yung definition social worker point of view. So delinquency can be divided into different classes. So one class is the environmental delinquent. So sila yung mga occasionally nag-break ng law, occasional lang, no? The second class is emotionally maladjusted delinquents. So these delinquents are chronic law breakers or who make breaking of law a habit. Naging habit na sa kanila, no? They are chronically breaking laws and they cannot avoid or escape from. The third is a psychiatric delinquent. So, psychiatric delinquency is related to serious emotional disturbance in the family or mental health issues. So, kung ang person may mental health illness, so he is classified as a psychiatric delinquent. So, meron tayo dito causes of juvenile delinquency. So, juvenile delinquency does not stem from single cause or a single set of causes. So, ang dami niyang causes. So, isa sa mga causes dito, according to the research, psychologists agree that social disorganization is one of the most important factors. So, pag ang isang tao nasa environment na divided, families differ from regions or country, or speak different dialects where people are constantly moved, diverse yung culture, flourish side by side, maliit lang yung interaction sa community, walang solidarity, oftentimes delinquency is most often found dito. So some researchers suggest that more often delinquents have parents characterized by drunkenness. So isa na rin dito, family problem na nagiging delinquent yung isang bata na may bisyo yung ama or yung ina or ineffective sa management sa bahay, still related yung parenting, and of course, financial difficulties din or economic difficulties. Of course, low self-respect. So, delinquent often indicate that their families are not concerned about their welfare. So, most delinquent children do not experience a real home. So, wala talaga silang bahay. And oftentimes kasi dito, yung mga tambay, no, walang tambay, nagkakamero ng away sa kalye, and we will discuss it later, the gangs. They are left to themselves the whole day, and any companions they choose to live. So also, one of the characteristics of it is somewhat like in a family aspects. So example, separation in marriage. So marriage may be temporary or permanently broken. So temporarily broken homes refer to separation when husband and wife cause war, migration, ito yung temporary. No, may war lang, kaya naghiwalay, migration, pumunta ng other country, maybe nagtrabaho, hospitalization, hospital, in prison, and permanent naman, yung talagang divorce na. Okay? So, meron tayong temporary broken ng family, and meron din tayong permanent, yung hiwalayan na talaga, divorce, kinat na talaga yung marriage bond ng isang couple, separation and life imprisonment, or even death. So, also, behavioral as well social scientists express the view that broken homes can create far-reaching problems such as juvenile delinquency and with mother's poverty. So many of the juvenile delinquents are here and abroad were found to come from broken homes. So maybe it's not in bias, but accordingly talaga, most of the people who have broken homes, dyan nagagaling yung juvenile delinquency. Kasi nga, familiar problems nito eh. So nakaka-affect talaga. So it does not follow that broken homes will surely cause young children or adolescents to go away and develop into, but many separately parents have produced offspring that climb into the fame. Okay, so Laseka and her research problems in juvenile delinquency found the following causes, and they arose from personal meaning coming from individual delinquent himself. So ano to? So an escape or flight from the tense and unpleasant situation. So gusto mong escape, gusto mong tumakas. And happiness and bitterness can perhaps be drowned out by intense excitement, running of risk. So kasi bitter na eh. So magpaka-exciting na lang kahit risky. Achievement of recognition, status in the group, may constitute the most important meaning. Denial of dependence, interior, femininity, masculinity, and regular guy philosophy. So the meaning of revenge, of course, against the parents, gustong maghiganti since latter's life is made difficult, they are disgraced by the actions of the child. So ito yung mga causes. So the problem of juvenile delinquency appears to be difficult to eradicate. Bakit? Much of the juvenile crime was attributed to usually large number of unsupervised and neglected young people who roam the streets of most cities. So, ito na yung sinasabi natin, yung mga street children, oftentimes mga tambay. So, a survey made by Philippine Youth Welfare Coordinating Council or PYWCC concluded that there were some 500,000 youngsters with little to do because educational facilities had not been able to keep pace with the burgeoning urban population. So, pag hindi nakapag-aral talaga, no, tambay yung kalalabasan, and oftentimes, napupunta sa gang, and may nakakaroon ng away. So, itong mga hindi nakapag-aral na mga bata, kawawa naman, oftentimes na sangkot sila sa theft, physical injury, robbery, and vandalism. So, appear to be most prevalent sa mga juvenile crimes. Drunkenness, no, also listed by many police officers na pag-iinom and mga sugal. And also, let's tackle about youth and crime. So, although trickery playing on traditional values is not evident in cases involving errant youth, but when young offenders come from families of influence and affluence, every attempt is made by their parents to bail them out of the trouble. So, ganyan talaga, no? Yung oftentimes lang nakaka-influensya yung parents, di ba? Like family problems or ano yung ginagawa ng anak, ay ng ama yung ginagawa siguro ng mga anak. Thus, the number of committed juvenile offenders in the National Training School boys would seem to indicate the far from serious nature of juvenile delinquents in the Philippines. So, before the reported rampages of the youth in the urban sector alone, from street brawlers to simmering walls of entire neighborhood, the incidence was very much higher. So, the fact that Philippine Training School for boys has less than 200 offenders may be explained by the following. So, ano yung naging reason? Measures taken by the government are contributory factors. The inmate in this school generally come from lower classes. So, in the given social setting, some cases involving the youth are usually settled at the courts, and yung iba, nasisettle na lang, pakiusap lang. Okay? So, mga youth offenders sa National Training School for Boys. So, National Training School for Boys, dito rin, kadalasan sa mga nagiging kaso ng mga bata doon is robbery, homicide, and of course, meron din murder kalimitan. The National Training School for Boys, formerly the National Training School for Boys, was under the administration of Welfare Bureau. Kung if you happen to have that Social Welfare and Social Work Mendoza, malalaman natin ano yun doon, yung Welfare Bureau bill. So, Metro Manila, but now is under the administration of Social Welfare and Services located in Bu, Sampaloc, Tanay Rizal. So, before pa to, I think right now, nag-evolve na to, The NTSB has the following goals. So, ano yung mga goal nila para sa mga bata nila doon? So, first, to return the minor to his natural parents para maibalik sa pamilya pag okay na. And eventual integration into the community. Ma-engage sa community, ano yung mga gawain doon, and provision of opportunities for minor to develop self-reliance in preparation to adult life and ultimately participating member in the community. Maybe bibigyan na ng scholarship, skills training sa TESDA, and the like. So, its objectives are to explore and develop skills, interests, and potentials of minors, to include positive and meaningful value, and individual inwards to satisfying group experience, or group work yung tawag dito, group experience, no? And to serve as laboratory for study. Of course, gagawa ng research yung mga buhay nila para matulungan yung iba din kung paano na nagawang magbago sila. So, those who can be served, sino sila? So, youth who are between 9 years and below 18 years old can avail the said services. Those who are less than 9 years old and below are not accepted in the NTSB because they are not considered criminally liable at that age. So, their cases are referred to the Juvenile Domestic Relations Court. So, offender above 18 years old are taken to Muntinlupa where they are jailed or to be detained according to the gravity of the offense or crime. Their cases are referred to the Court of First Instance. And of course, the second condition is those who are committed by the court can likewise run to NSSB for help. So, ano yung procedures for admission doon sa bata? So, the youth offender is brought to the center by police, first, authorities with the following. So, kailangan ng court order dapat. Ito tayo yung present and social case study na gawa ng social worker. Third is school, health, and work record favored by the NSSD branch office concerned. So, no referrals will be admitted unless with a court order. So, delikado to, no? Dapat talaga yung social worker mindful dito. Dapat hindi basta-basta lang ng refer without court order kasi iba po yung pinag-uusapan dito, no, kalayaan ng isang bata or hustisya sa ibang pamilya na nakumita ng crime ito. Unless kung mga sugat-sugat lang, mga food packs, mga pagkain, mga medical supplies, mga ganon, services, of course, baka hindi na magkameron ng court order pa na mangyari. Kasi crime tong pinag-usapan natin dito eh. Okay, hindi innocente yung pinag-usapan natin dito. So, the National Training Schools for Boys is different from Boys Town. Bakit? The Boys Town is under the Administration of Social Welfare. Its main office is in Manila. The population of Boys Town consists of orphan. Mga orphan na po doon, mga iniwan, mga abandoned. Unlike NTSB, sila yung mga delinquents talaga na mga youth offenders din. So, yung kaibahan po yung Boys Town, mga orphan, mga iniwan, mga wala ng parents, pero hindi nakakommit ng crime. Sila yung nasa Boys Town. Yung mga NTSB, sila yung mga youth offenders or might be na mga delinquents. Gangs naman tayo. This is also one of the reason why or causes why there is a delinquency. So, gangs presenting entrenched families, according to Cooler, are aimed towards status seeking rather than solving direct problems. So, ito pala yung nangyari pag gangs status seeking, piling nila malakas sila, which would seem related to the times when some specific group poses a direct threat into the status of the whole. So, pag meron ng threat, ito na yung nagiging nangyari, status seeking na. So, where the youth gets a foul of the law, he is usually in a company of other youths. That's the problem of young gangs. So, dito na sa metropolitan talaga karamihan. So, the larger gang carries such names as OXO, ang mga names na Commando, Sputnik, o Bahala na. So, the gangs were organized along regional lines, born conflict arising between entrenched families in Tondo, foreshore areas and migrant groups coming all parts of the Philippines. So, ito na yung nangyayari. Oftentimes, yung mga gang, nasasangkot pala dito yung mga parents nila. May mga times na yung parents nila, pasok sa gang na yan, parang na-recruit pa yung bata. More and more gangs capture front page in newspaper. So, nagiging laman na sila ng mga balita po. So, another is how to control and prevent delinquency. So, clear knowledge and causes of delinquency can naturally lead to a better understanding of how we can control it. So, of course, we must know first how the cause, ano yung dahilan, at ano yung, only we can know then kung ano yung paraan. So, such reasoning is based on the frequent experience being able to solve problems successfully after the cause had been determined. So, it is also suggested that there should be wholesome family, kailangan. So, parents of child coming from good families should not think that their duties are ended when they have showered their children with luxury and free use of money. So, the delinquent must know the bad effects of being delinquent to himself and to his environment. So, kailangan talaga ipakita sa mga bata na yung epekto ng ginagawa niya. Oftentimes kasi, nanghugas kamay yung mga parents sa mga delinquent nilang anak kasi sustentado naman, mayaman naman. Pero meron din naman ng cases naman na sustentado naman mayaman that is engaged also in delinquency. Okay, so ito kailangan talaga ipaalam sa bata na ano yung posibleng maging epekto nito. So he should be warned that he changed his wrongdoings. Kailangan niyan baguhin. He needs some interest, self-interest, and attention of others, particularly parents. So, ganon. So, ano yung mga social welfare programs dito that can prevent and minimize number of delinquents in the country? So, social welfare programs were instituted by departments such as CYWP or Child and Youth Welfare Program. Second is Family Welfare Program and Community Welfare Program. So, ano yung Child and Youth Welfare Program? So, designed to take care and protect, rehabilitate children and youth in difficult situation and ensure their social adjustment to total growth and development. So, delinquent youths are offered special services intended to prevent minors below 18 years of age from entering juvenile justice system and divert. So, kaya nga, tulungan sila, kina-counsel sila, and of course, hindi talaga tumawala oftentimes sa social worker intervention na mayroong diversion programs. Divert their attention to more gainful and productive activities for them to acquire socially acceptable behavior. Example, mga sports, or bibigyan sila ng scholarship, papag-aralin sila, or skills training. Okay? Yan yung mga diversion program na ginagawa natin. In 1992, highlights of accomplishments under the Child and Youth Welfare Program were on the following: monitoring the implementation of, so ito yung implementation of RA 6972 or an act establishing daycare in every barangay, RA 6972, and also the operationalization of Philippine Republic Act 7610 or Special Protection Act for Children. Also, there happened the devolution of services talaga na meron na ding powering local government units sa mga services natin through Local Government Code, Republic Act 7160. So also, we have Family Welfare Program is designed to assist socially disadvantaged families to develop their capability in defining needs and formulating solutions to bring about desired social change. Okay, so family yung target niya, tinutulungan yung family sa mga needs nito and formulating solutions. So it offers parent effectiveness, of course, responsible parenthood, family casework services. Of course, we have Family Life Development Program, enriches and strengthens the family to fulfill its function to its members and to the community. Promotion and strengthening of the family is the basic unit of the Philippine society, is the overriding principle in implementing of the family welfare program. And of course, we do have also the community welfare program in terms of community naman. So in terms sa bata, ito yung sa bata, direct sa bata, ito yung micro ng bata. You are directing the child personally, and of course, we will going to move on to the meso aspect sa bata, sa mga tao na sa paligid niya, and let's moving on to the community in the bigger aspects na yan talaga yung aspect ng social work, not just sa offender, sa mga paligid din niya, of course, in the bigger aspects of macro system in the community welfare program. On the other hand, is intended to assist socially disadvantaged communities in developing their capability in defining needs and formulating solutions, as well as setting viable community structures which bring about desired social change. So isa dito, example, church, mga ganon-ganon, mga community program services na makakatulong sa hindi lang sa pamilya, pati na rin sa bata directly. And next, let's have our the incident crime index. Ito yung the incident crime index, major crimes per 100,000 population is considered a problem. So the latest available data from 1992 to 1994 called the Philippine National Police Journals revealed the following information. So in Metropolitan Manila, several thousands committed crimes such as against property, against person, against property, yung sinisira yung property, nasisira against a person, nananakit, and against moral and orders sa mga utos at batas. To have clear understanding of the data gathered, the figures are presented in a circular pie form to present percentage distribution of the crime. So, what are index crimes? So, index crimes are of serious nature which occur the sufficient frequency and regularity to be used as an index of actual level of compilation in the Philippines. So, index crimes include murder, ito yung mga index crimes, homicide, physical injuries, robbery, theft, and rape. Crimes other than these are classified as non-index crimes. Okay? So, ito lang talaga yung mga index crimes. Serious nature, of course, sufficient frequency. Mga seryoso to. Okay? So, there are about 56,000 index crimes recorded in 1993. This decreased by 12% between percent over the 1992 figures, 67. On the other hand, 9 index crimes volume which decreased by 15%. So, ito na yung data natin. No, ito yung data natin dito. May pie dito. Oftentimes talaga, mostly sa crimes natin dito is, ito yung mga crimes na mayroong rape, theft, robbery, physical and homicide and murder. Ito yung mga distribution nila in terms of our index. Percentage distribution of index crime. Also, we have here percentage distribution of index crimes naman pa rin. Mostly pa rin, ito pa rin yung mga cases pa rin. We have 30% here for murder. Of course, the like crimes like homicide, physical injury, robbery, theft na nagagawa ng isang delinquent child. So, percentage of distribution of index crimes also, yun pa rin yung case natin, murder, homicide, yun pa rin yung madalas talaga. Of course, here, murder, and here, index crimes. Still, there is also percentage distribution of index crimes. From January 1994, ito pa rin yung madalas, theft, rape, murder, homicide, and physical injury. We have 12%, 31%, and mostly. So, also, can we consider pornography as related to violence? So, several most recent studies and researchers link pornography with sexual crimes. So, according to American Heritage Dictionary, defines pornography as written, graphic, hindi lang video po, written, pati written, graphic, or other forms of communication intended to excite lascivious feelings. So, if it excites your lascivious feelings, hindi yan siya basta video, no, kasi yun yung naisip natin. Of course, it is written, of course, graphic. The present generation has been exposed to such materials, the cinema, television, tabloids, and magazines, and software, video, sex education over telephone, lines, and in schools. Undoubtedly, pornography has an effect to mentality of a generation. It has affirmed that by recent foreign researchers and studies which says that pornography which feeds the imagination of those with guns and gives a blueprint to act out of their own lives, portrays violence as enjoyable and encourages the view that women are sexual victims, not equal partners. Many crimes like Gomez Samantha case and many other cases have involved policemen, military men, political figures, and their kin, showing power there with the aid of gun, they demonstrate their male superiority in the most perverted and eccentric manner. Victims show obnoxious signs of inhuman acts, torture inflicted upon them. So also a study in Canadian rapists in prison by Dr. Marshall cited revealed that various forms of pornographic fantasies might lead to crimes. A theory that pornography endorses attitude that increase the likelihood of rape is supported by a study of recreational killers by the U.S. Institute of Mental Health. Most of the killers fed in pornography. Dr. James L. McGo, the University of California, in his research on memory, sounded a warning. So this is what he said. So if a person is emotionally, including sexually aroused at the time of experience or witnessing something, a chemical called epinephrine is released in the bloodstream and it goes to the brain and locks in very vivid memory of the experience. So it locks talaga. It seals. We all have special library of unwanted images. Many are sexual, we hate them. But the epinephrine, which is in all of us, has locked them and we can't get rid of them. What I'm suggesting is that no matter how pious, how religious, how strong a conscience we have, we are all vulnerable to this kind of things. So also have prevention and control of crime. So the Philippine criminal justice system. So the criminal justice system is a machinery which the Philippine society uses in prevention and control of crime. So also it operates by preventing the commission of crimes, enforcing the laws, protecting life, individual rights and property, removing dangerous person from the community, deterring people from indulging in criminal activities, investigating, apprehending, prosecuting, sentencing, and those cannot be deterred from violating the rules, society, and rehabilitating offenders before returning them to the community. So, mga police, especially including ditong court and the like, so they are investigating. The system has four separate and normally organized components, namely police, law enforcement agency, also prosecution. So, kailangan talaga dakpin ng police and there happen a prosecution sa korte kaagad. And pag na-sentensyahan na yung tao, magkakameron ng corrections doon sa kulungan ba kaya or sa rehabilitation center. This system is known as formal criminal justice system. Okay, so outside the formal organization, the community is the basic element and considered the fifth component. Kasi nga, after this, after ng correction, example, nakalaya yung isang tao, without the support of the citizenry, the system, by itself, it cannot succeed. Example, may mga moment na nakalaya yung isang criminal, anong mangyayari din? Oftentimes, ba, pag may mga nakalayang criminal, hindi siya na siya tinatanggap ng community, may mga cases of suicide po. So, kailangan talaga support ng community dito na tanggapin natin tong taong to na nakalaya na and tulungan siya ng community. So, individuals, private groups, and public entities when performing related criminal justice activities become part of the system. A lawmaking body becomes a component of the system at the time it is engaged in the process of enacting a proposed law. So, ganon. So, we also have the total approach to crime. So, the Manila Bulletin, October 22, 1995, carried reports that Justice Secretary Chupesto Gengona conceded that public perception of Philippine National Police has been considered tarnished because of the rush of the recent scandal. So, example, may mga cases ngayon na yung mga police na sasangkot sa crimes and other things. So, total somewhat, hindi sila naging helpful dito sa approach na to in terms of crime. Media reports to policemen entangles in some heinous crimes, notable kidnap or ransom activities, murder cases, bank robberies, and kidnapping have frequently occupied newspaper and television. For these reasons, government officials have embarked on a total approach program to tackle and find solutions to the community's peace and order problem, particularly in urban areas of the community. Also, solution to the problem is the cleansing of the ranks of the police and military and the sweeping purge of the scalawag among the men of uniform. So, na iba nare-relieve, sinisante, kasi nga hindi naging tapat sa tungkulin. Gingona stretch the total approach strategy to the criminal justice system should be adopted by the government. A plan by the Department of Interior and local government is to provide venues for community-based participation in curbing localized crime problems is one way. Okay, so of course we have, in terms of barangay and crime prevention, ano namang ginagawa ng barangay? So among the traditional institutions, the new concept of social defense has been further highlighted with a crucial role now being played by the barangay in crime prevention. So hindi lang po porket LGU, national, at kasali po ng barangay sa prevention dito. Kaya nga, meron tayo diba sa barangay, mga Peace and Order Committee, open times dyan, nag-head dyan, of course, barangay captain, nahati sila sa committee. One of its committee is Peace and Order, ano yung tawag dyan, or crime prevention, depende sa barangay. The Barangay or Citizens Assembly is a unique Philippine socio-political unit which anticipated the Spanish colonial era. So, doon ito na mas na-improve pa talaga yung socio-political aspects ng barangay during Spanish period. Barangay officials are required to report to the police and the other law enforcement agencies the presence of criminal elements in their respective area and to conduct surveillance on crime suspects and other suspicious persons in the neighborhood. So individual measures, so everyone should try to make himself selfless, vulnerable to criminal activity by keeping in mind the following preventive measures. So first is never hitchhike or accept rides from strangers. Kailangan talaga. So if possible, never talk alone, especially during dark hours. There is some safety in numbers. So of course, if you must walk alone, be alert and take the following precautions in terms para hindi po mabiktima. So walk in well-lighted areas, walk in middle of the sidewalk, avoiding parked vehicles, dark alleys, doorways, and isolated areas. So kailangan talaga doon ka sa iwasan mo tong mga area na to, mga dark. And para isa pa, if you are boarded anywhere or a patient in the hospital, secure your valuables. Hindi lang iniiwanan pa. So, isa pa dito, sa dapat nating iwasan talaga, in terms of traveling, huwag kang makihitch lang palibreng sakay. Hindi mo alam kung sino yung mga kakilala mo dyan. And always park your car in a well-lighted area. Kasi pag punta mo dyan, pag uwi ka na, pupunta ka sa car mo, aabangan ka dyan ng mga magnanakaw. Okay, so remain alert and always use your common sense na lang po. Okay? So, ito yung summary natin. Questions to study. What is juvenile delinquency? Give some causes of it. How many juvenile delinquents be controlled or prevented? What are some crime-causing factors? And how should one make himself less vulnerable to criminal activity? Okay?